Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Success Model. Thank you so much for being here with me. I have taken a little break after the app launch. I basically just needed to recalibrate and focus on the work that I was doing behind the scenes with my clients. And honestly, I feel like it's been the best permission slip because now I honestly just feel like I've entered a new level, the level that I've been working on. So if you were following along for the 30-day podcast challenge in March, you will know exactly what I was doing to prepare for this, to prepare for the launch, to prepare for everything that's happening right now, which I will go deeper into at the end of this episode. But if you haven't checked out those episodes, then you can just scroll back. You can see like day 1 to 30 on there, and then you can follow along and do your own 30-day challenge if you're wanting to get to your next level and really just get out of your own way. But I also want to take this time to share with you that this whole process of me stepping into this next level now, where everything's working out and everything makes sense, this didn't happen on a whim. I've obviously been doing the subconscious work, been preparing my nervous system and clearing the outdated emotional imprints, which are also known as the beliefs that we operate from. And as a result of that, I've also realized that this version of me now feels safe to express vulnerably, because before I was thinking, oh, I can't share the beliefs that I'm working through, or I don't want to share my whole life story and all the things. But I can't not do that, because you just won't understand how transformational working with your subconscious, especially clearing the conditioning, which is the unique framework of the success model, is a 3-step subconscious strategy to basically recode, regulate and redesign your subconscious and therefore your life, to give you the 360 effective success in every single area that you choose to do the work on. So I can't explain to you just how transformational it will be if I don't honestly, in real time, share with you what I'm doing to get here, what I'm doing with my clients. So we're going to get into a real life situation today, which is so fascinating for me, because how it came about is just so perfectly aligned. And I think it's really going to give you an insight into how this work can transform whatever you're going through at the moment as well. So, as I've mentioned, I do feel like now I'm ready to be more vulnerable. So I am going to be sharing the not so good parts of the so-called healing journey, because there are moments where you have to pause, where you have to grieve for the old way of being, where you have to just pull back your energy and realize that in order to create the freedom lifestyle and business and freedom of self and expression that you're desiring, you have to let go of the need to perform to societal expectations and the pressure that you once applied on yourself. The pressure that tells you that you can't relax, or you feel like you've always got to be on the go, you've always got to be working in your business, you've always got to be showing up online, you've got to be consistent every day. And when I decided that I was just going to give myself a break, I was not going to explain it to anyone, I was just going to take myself off and allow myself to rest, allow myself to recalibrate to the new version that I had been working so hard on for the whole of March. And then the app launched the middle of April, so up until then. And then after that point, I was just so exhausted. And at that point, when you're feeling that exhaustion, your body is craving to just stop, to just process everything, to sit with yourself. And for the longest time, I haven't been able to do that. I've not been able to sit with myself. I've not given myself the chance to just really ask myself, what do I need in this moment? Every time I've felt like I just need to rest, I just need to slow down, I've not. Obviously it's different when you're a mum and you've got little humans that depend on you, which is the most amazing gift, but it's also very tiring, and it's okay to accept that. It's okay to just know that you can give yourself a break and just not judge yourself, not be guilt tripping yourself for doing so. So that in itself is an instant up level, because you're no longer operating from survival, from scarcity, from guilt, from expectations. You're choosing to own your own time, your own thoughts, and as a result you're giving yourself freedom, and freedom within creates freedom without. So now I've explained that, I am going to be sharing like the integration process, the recalibration process that happens when you're doing the healing work, and also the whole redesigning of your schedule, of your subconscious, of your strategy in order to get to the next level. And you constantly, well, not constantly, but like every quarter, reevaluate where you're at. Are your beliefs, therefore your actions, in alignment with the results that you want to achieve by the end of the year? If they're not, there's some belief that is cropping up right now, and you'll know that by the things that are causing you frustration, that are causing overwhelm, that are causing guilt. They're the signs that you're ready to recode a belief that's no longer serving you. So all of this work, I have found, is best done in the moment. So when you're feeling like you are aware of a repeating pattern, you're feeling the frustration, you're feeling the overwhelm, you're like, oh my gosh, are we here again? Why is this happening? That is the time it's coming up to be healed. That is the time you do the subconscious work. And because I want to make it so accessible to you, obviously we've got the Symbiotic Success app, so you can plug and play and clear the beliefs. But I want to change how we use the app, because I really feel like to get the most out of it, you do need a single session with me, at least a single session with me first, so we can go through the technique together, so you know exactly what your subconscious is saying when it's talking to you. You know when your ego's at play and it's trying to dismiss it, and you understand the tug of war between the ego and the subconscious, because the ego is going to do everything in its power to keep you safe and where you are right now. That's what it's designed to do. So with that said, I have launched a Recode session. It's a 1 hour session, one-on-one with me, where we focus on one area of your life, so one problem that you're experiencing, whether that be an income cap, problem in your relationship, feeling like you want to launch a business but you've got no clarity, and every time you sit down to figure it out, your brain like checks out and you start procrastinating, maybe you're self-sabotaging, maybe you just are so tired of getting in your own way. That would be one area. So we choose one area, we uncover the single belief that's at play, that's directing all of your behavior, and we transform that and we get the results. And this framework is science-backed. It's a subconscious strategy. It's not woo-woo. Yes, we use energetics. Yes, I do use my intuition to help guide the session. But it's proven, it's science-backed. Within one session, there is up to 96% improvement in clearing an emotional deep block that you've been operating from for the longest time. So I'm going to leave the link to the Recode session below, and you'll be able to book that. Okay, so I want to share with you what we actually do and how it's transformational. So I have come to my brother's today to work, and when I got here, I just asked him about a new job that he had an interview for. Just said, have you had any correspondence yet? And he said, oh, I've just had to chase them, to be honest. Like, I always have to chase people. It's so frustrating. And me being me, I was like, okay, so do you feel like you have to chase people in every area of your life, or is it just with work? And he was like, no, it's literally everywhere. every single area of my life. And I was like, okay, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrating does that feel? And he's like, literally 10. Like, it frustrates me so much. So I was like, okay, so what other emotions are coming up? Like, name the top 3 emotions. And he was like, frustration, impatience, and anger. So I was like, okay, so I know that you are so closed off. You are, like, he just thinks the work that I do is literally like way out. He just can't even, he just doesn't even know what the hell I do, basically. He's very logical. He is very grounded, and we have conversations about like psychology and behavioral patterns of people, but and like of our family dynamic, but he's always just looked at me when I've gone off on a tangent about this, just like I've literally lost the plot. Like, it's just a running joke. So anyway, I was like, I know you have your certain perception about the work that I do, but I just want to take this time and do a clear the conditioning session with you. Have you got time? It literally takes like 20 minutes. And he was like, yeah, okay. So we sat down, went over the 3 emotions again, and I was like, right, we're going to do a human compass test to identify the most prevalent emotion that is keeping this belief alive, because this belief, when it's linked to the emotion, is basically an emotional imprint that's in our creative field that therefore attracts the same situation. So he's always going to feel like he's chasing people to get the answer, and he always has done, because it's always been in his creative field, in his electromagnetic field, because of the emotional imprint that he's operating from. So I said, right, we're going to find the most dominant emotion. So we did the human compass technique, which is where we work with your subconscious, and your body will either move like left or backwards, forward or backwards, whether it's the truth or the non-truth. Anyway, we identified the emotion, we got into the technique, we uncovered the exact belief, got confirmation on that from the subconscious, and then it started off a little bit hazy, like he's not used to trusting his subconscious or trusting the thoughts that come up. Like most of us, you'll just literally dismiss them, or just, just think, oh, that's a random thought, like I'm just not going to pay it any attention. So when we do this technique, the subconscious will bring relevant memories that are linked to that emotional imprint to your awareness. So it only reveals everything that we are ready to let go of that's linked to that emotion that you are feeling, that's therefore creating the results that you don't want. So at first he said that there was quite a lot of flashing like memories, but he couldn't see them, like he couldn't grasp them. There was just so many things, and that was basically the ego trying to protect you from the subconscious by creating lack of clarity, because it knows that it's being accessed. So in that moment, we don't focus on trying to find a memory, we focus on the emotion. So we connected to the emotion, and when he fully relaxed and he allowed himself to trust the subconscious and what was being revealed, that's when a memory was revealed. So then we identified that this memory was linked to someone who was 5 generations back. It was a man who was basically in the war, and he was in the trenches alone, and he had to, and this is what, I know it sounds so wild, but honestly, like, it all makes sense. So just don't clock out yet, just stay with me. So he was in the trenches alone, and there was a cannon and it wasn't working, and everyone had left him, and he was the responsible one, and he basically just felt lost, felt like he just wanted cohesion within his life and his family and relationship dynamics, and he wanted safety. So then obviously we make notes on that, and then we went to another reflection, and this reflection was also a ancestor. It was a female though, and she was 37, and she was just gazing out of a window, feeling so fed up and feeling like she needed guidance and just feeling completely lost. So again, that same thread was coming through to this other reflection. And then we cleared that emotional imprint, because then that revealed a deeper emotion that was attached to the frustration and the impatience, which was anxiety. And that was because she felt powerless. So then that emotion then linked to another reflection that was my brother's 14-year-old self. And he just felt like he couldn't express himself. He felt just like his posture was just completely guarded. And yeah, it just felt like he couldn't express himself. So we made the reflection feel safe. And then he basically opened up and said what he wanted, which was to express himself for his unique gifts and to have freedom of self, freedom of mind, freedom of finances, freedom of life. And then we basically look at what we're being presented with and how everything interconnects, and then we clear that emotional imprint. Sometimes there is an emotional release because you've been holding on to this for the longest time, and it has been proven that through epigenetics, the gene expression can be changed through significant trauma. So the significant trauma in this scenario was 5 generations ago, experiencing the war, feeling unsafe, feeling in survival mode, feeling lost, feeling like they needed guidance, and feeling fed up because they just weren't living the lifestyle that they wanted, and what they wanted was freedom. So then that emotional imprint got passed on genetically to my brother, which then manifested as him not being able to express himself because he was carrying that emotional weight, and he didn't know how to express it because it was never his. It was never a memory. It was always just an emotion, a way of feeling. So then once we piece this all together, then we understand that we can let go of it. We understand what it wants, which is freedom to express, freedom to live the life that they wanted. And also the first reflection just wanted to be a success. And it tallies up with exactly where my brother is right now. He's pivoting careers. He is feeling a certain way and he wants to get into alignment, and he was feeling like he needed guidance. He was feeling a little bit lost. He didn't know what to do with his career, where it's going, what direction he wanted to take it in. And he felt like he was having to piece it all together, and there was no cohesion between it all. And that's exactly what came up in the reflections, which were the emotional imprints that he's been carrying on ever since he was born. So then when you realize this and we clear the emotional imprint, we're no longer operating from that same belief. So therefore we don't have to chase, we don't have to be the one to be responsible all the time and feel lost and feel fed up and feel in survival, or whatever the case may be, whatever you are coming into the session with. Or maybe you don't even know. Like, for example, my brother this morning, it was just a fleeting comment. He was just saying, I always have to chase. It's so frustrating. And logically, you would never have unpacked all of that just from that single comment. But that is a belief that you're operating from, and underneath that belief are the reflections that belief is protecting you from really feeling and accessing. Because the subconscious job is to keep that belief alive. It doesn't care if it feels good or not. It cares that it's always been there, and that's the comfort zone, that's the familiar zone. So it'll do everything in its power to keep you operating from that, because that's your identity. But when you clear that emotional imprint, your identity completely changes, because then at the end of the session, the reflections were saying, well, his reflection was saying that he felt unstoppable, he felt unique, he felt in his power, felt like he was growing, felt like he was flourishing. So the mindset shift had completely transformed by the end of the session. And then that's when we knew that the work had been done. And within 15 minutes of the session, and I know this literally sounds like magic, and it blows my mind how fast things get to change. Like, it doesn't always happen this fast. It can be days, it can be weeks. Sometimes you can't even notice until you look back and then you see that things have changed significantly. But there's always a shift. And yeah, within minutes, he had received an email from the new job opportunity with a list of 62 clients that he can choose to work with because he's self-employed. So that's a massive financial drop-in. Completely got him out of that whole lack of clarity, lack of guidance, feeling that he was lost. It just made everything click. And you could say that it's a coincidence, but it's happened too many times with too many clients for me to know that it's a coincidence. Like, I know when we clear the emotional imprint that we are operating from, which creates our energetic signature, which emits out into our electromagnetic field, which then, using the law of attraction, then calls into our experiences people, opportunities, places and things that are a like match to that frequency. There's just no way that you can't see a different result. You've changed your genetic makeup, you've changed your energetic being, you've changed your frequency. Therefore, the world has to change to match. And this is the quantum work. This is quantum physics in action. This is why it's so powerful. So I just want to leave that there. I know you're just going to be probably thinking right now, like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is not what I've ever heard of. Or maybe you've heard or seen on social media work similar to it, and you've seen subconscious reprogramming and rewiring and rah-de-rah, but no one ever really shares what actually goes into it. So you might be thinking subconscious reprogramming is repeating affirmations, is listening to a hypnosis, is doing a meditation, or acting as if everything's already yours and you're scripting. And whilst those techniques have a success rate, I personally am not interested in them, because I've always been very impatient and I like speed and efficiency and logic and tangible results. My former business was built on speed, efficiency and results, and that's what made it a success. There's no way I'm dropping my values in this business. I've tried doing all the other manifestation tips, and I do not even like the word manifestation because it doesn't do this work any justice. We are rewiring your cognitive patterns using success energetics. That's what we're doing. We work with your nervous system and your subconscious mind. There's nothing woo-woo about it other than the fact that we've been shielded from this powerful work for the longest time, which has kept us small, and we don't need to be there anymore. So the fact that you're still listening, the fact that this has been brought into your awareness, is a massive sign that you are ready to let go of whatever limiting behavior you've been operating from, whatever pattern is showing up in your life right now. And like I said, we do it for all 12 areas of life, not in one session because that would take way too long. But we choose one session, one area to recode. We regulate your nervous system and we redesign your schedule, your strategy to take action from that place. That is how you get results in one session. And if we honestly, I believe in the technique, the framework that I've poured my heart and soul into for the last 3 years so much that I can hands on my heart say, if you do not feel different by the end of the session if you do not feel like we have connected to a belief and cleared it and recoded it and given you a different perspective, a different way of being, and you truly feel that within. If you don't feel that, then you can have the money back. You can literally have the session on me, because I feel so strongly about it. There's just no way. I personally don't think that would ever happen. It never has. Can't see it happening now. So I'm going to leave that there. On Instagram, I will be sharing more about what goes into my work daily. Obviously, I do need to protect my clients' privacy, so I can't always be sharing beliefs that we're working through, or problems that we're working through. But where I can, I will, so you understand the process. But the Recode session is here to recode, regulate, and redesign one area of your life at a time. That's all you need to do. Yes, you can do hypnosis. It's great, especially if you're in survival mode. Your mind's everywhere. But there's nothing more powerful than getting to the root cause, the emotional imprint. Hypnosis is great to override the thought patterns that you're operating from. But then, from my experience, I've found when I stopped listening to the hypnosis, I reverted back to the same behavior that I was operating from before, because the emotional imprint was still there. I still had a fear of being seen, still, like, for my truth, for my gifts, because it's not the ordinary. I still had a fear of being judged for what people would think, because it's so contrasting to what I did before. So until you clear the emotional imprint that makes you feel unsafe for being who you are, you're still going to be feeling that fear of stepping into your power, of stepping into your truth. So I hope that's helped you understand what the hell we do in a Recode session and why we get such profound results in the fastest amount of time. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. And if you want to book a Recode session with me, I will leave the link below. Bye.